Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. I just wanted to share with you some exciting news for the MTG Arena player base, and the news is that Steam has finally, or MTG Arena is finally going to Steam. So what does that mean for me and you and for the company? Well, the first thing I would say is more players, higher audience means more players. What does that mean? Obviously, the company benefits in the sense that it's able to reach a larger audience, and because what most likely will happen is that the players on Steam who have no idea about the game Magic, because they see it on the front page, they will most likely tend to jump in. So that means that the company behind Magic, the Gathering Arena, will be able to reach new audiences, which will mean a possibility of a higher chance or a higher revenue. And what does that mean for us players? Why is it good for us? Well, Magic the Gathering is known to have, quite short queue times. But imagine with this new influx of players, and that means that the queue times will be even less. And that would also mean that we have a higher chance of playing with different kind of builds, different kind of decks, and different styles of players. And like any other multiplayer games, the more the merrier. So I would say that's amazing, and I'm really happy about that. I remember when the game they announced the game, because I was really looking forward to when they announced that the game will be coming out for mobile devices. That was I think one of the best news in the games genre, because that would mean that people could spend more time on it, and maybe when you're on the bed, lying down on the sofa, out there, in the fields even, or you can just jump in, play a few matches, win or lose, and just disconnect and move on. So that was also a great thing and also the same thing that will happen with Steam, and they have a higher chance of gaining a new audience, because people sometimes just browse the Play Store to see what's there, or the Apple Store or the App Store to see what's there. And yeah, so that was an exciting let's say turning point or crossroad for the genre and for the game itself. And yeah, so this is a new one. Now, talking about mobile devices, don't quote me on this. You might have to do a bit more research, or one has to do a bit more research. It might be possible, I haven't seen that yet, that people could access the game on Steam Deck. So those who have Steam Decks, that will mean they can play wherever they are, wherever they find themselves. So that's great news for people, for those who might have. That might be great news, because I'm not 100% sure. For those who have Steam Deck, so that's another possible good news. Now, when it comes to the game itself, something I want to talk about is monetization, because that's a key word. Well, as players, we have been let down so much by the game developers and the gaming companies in regards to monetization. That's a fact, especially when the new title monetization came out. I don't want to go into details. I don't want to talk about who is doing what, or I don't want to point fingers, but you know what I'm talking about. And so obviously the first question is it play to win? To a certain degree, the simple answer is it pay to win? Sorry, the simple answer is yes, but it's quite different from what you would find in other pay to win games, in the sense that this goes with many, almost all. No, I will say many. I won't say almost all. Many trading card games, or in this case, collectible card games. You can have, yes, you can, to a certain degree, you can pursue the best deck by spending a huge amount of money on booster packs to get exactly what you need. But first of all, one good thing about this game is that it is Um, it has what one could say seasons. So yeah, it has seasons. So what I mean by that is that even a possible deck which maybe was working a few on a few seasons ago might not work in the future. So it does refresh, because what I mean by the seasons is that they select a certain amount of let's say expansions for a certain amount of period. Let's say for the first five, let's say the latest 5 or 6 expansions. Then maybe when a new one comes, then they remove the previous one, the oldest one in the series. So that creates new gameplay and new dynamics. Yes, there is a historic session where basically you can play almost every deck that has been released so almost every expansion that has been released so far on the MTG Arena. But regardless of that, there's a good amount of people who play, let's say, on the standard ranked matches. So yes, you can get yourself quickly all the cards that you want, but that wouldn't prevent other people from doing the same. Even other people who are not paying as much as you would to do the same. So you still find competition, even though you spend all the money on the game. So yeah, that's something that one should bear in mind. It is pay to win, in the sense that yes, I'm not going to sugarcoat or try and sugarcoat words here. Yes, it is pay to win. You can get as many cards as you want if you spend as much money as possible. There is an element of RNG, when it comes to booster packs. There's very few cards that I know that you can get. Let's say you can actually know what you're getting beforehand. But most of the time, it's you can get a set of cards, or a pool of cards. So there is an element of RNG there. But yes, you can potentially, if you have an infinite amount of money, get whatever card you want. And but still, then there comes the question. What is the best set? What's the best deck you can get? Yes, there might be cookie cutter decks that are meta for the season, or meta for that period of time. But there is they do tend to even sometimes ban cards or change cards mid-season, or at the end of the season, just to create a bit more deck diversity. So yes, that should be that's something that we should bear in mind. Now the main question is, as a free to play player, can I be competitive? I would say yes, because but it requires, you can't just jump in and then randomly play some random deck and get to the top. Absolutely not. It requires a good amount of knowledge, and the more you play, obviously the more knowledge you gain about the game, the different opponents you play against, the higher the higher chance, the more knowledge you gain. So in that sense, yes, it is not an easy game to just jump in. Okay, I was even jumping in sometimes. I've heard a few friends of mine say that they found it a bit difficult. They don't understand what's going on. Yes, and I'll be honest with you, I felt the same initially when I started playing it. But there is a learning curve, and I would say the beginning of the learning curves can be a few steps higher than maybe other games in the same genre. But when you get a hang of it, you'll be surprised how lovely and interesting the game is. Yes, so as a free-to-play player, there are various ways to gain in-game currency. There is an in-game currency, and there's premium currency. You can buy booster packs with the in-game currency, as well as the premium currency. The premium currency can be used for various other things, but but at the end of the day, what's important here are the booster packs. So you can gain it with the in-game currency and the premium currency. The in-game currency can be gained through daily. So if you play daily, you get a minimum of 500. If you complete daily quests, let's be honest, that's you get. Let's be clear. You get at least 500 points. I've forgotten what they're called, but 500 of those credits, a minimum, and a maximum of 750. There is a battle pass system where, and there is a weekly bonus as well that you gain, and so on and so forth. But I don't want to go too much into details. But what I'm trying to say is that there are ways to gain money, there are ways to gain in-game currency. And one other thing is that there are, and let's say, I would say they're almost all the time, events where you could quote unquote wager and currency, the in-game currency, to even gain premium currency. And that's where knowledge is very, very important, because it requires you to create a deck that's able to win a good amount of matches to be able to qualify for the end reward. I would probably make another video explaining what that means and how to go about it, but for now I just wanted to let you know that free-to-play players have a lot of chances of making it in the game. And yeah, so one final thing that I would like to talk about is another thing that people mention is the game rigged? I mean, what we could explore the definition of rigged, what rigged means, but I think what people are noticing is that if you play a certain deck, there's a high chance that you'll be faced against a certain deck. That is not a secret, that is known, because the reason why they're doing that is to help players, I mean, at least this is what you're saying, to have more challenging matches. So and obviously there is a tendency of people playing just a specific deck that obviously works, so and the meta deck. So yes, you'll find that as well. So wherever you play, you might find that there's a higher chance of you playing against people with the meta decks, which tend to be all purpose. But yeah, the higher you're going to rank, the more diversity you might find. It's what I'm trying to say, that is, it's not necessarily a rigged system, but the MMR system is designed to is not totally random. Let's put it this way: it's not totally random. So, well, it has its it positives and negatives when it comes to that. But I would say you try it for yourself. And like any other thing, if you like the system, stick with it. If you don't, I mean, you can obviously let the developers know, or let people know about it. But at the end of the day, the decision you can make at that point is, well, this is not for me, and let me move on to something else. So yes, that's one of the the things that might not be too appealing. But at the end of the day, it's a free-to-play game. Yes, there is pay to win, but it's a very generous system where the more knowledge you have, the higher you are rewarded. So it is not completely it's not a traditional MMO game. It's more of for those who have played this type of game before, you know what I'm talking about. So in a sense that yes, you can spend as much money as possible, but if somebody is eventually able to get cards that counter yours, and there's nothing you can do about it, your money won't save you at that point. So yeah, I would encourage all of you to join. It's free to play. You can try it on Steam now on your mobile devices, for those who didn't know, and also on you can download the standalone client if you prefer that. And enjoy the game. Hopefully I'll see you, and hopefully we can play a few matches. With that being said, I wish you all the best, and peace.